Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Oh, it's so good to see you here. Thank you for attending our sixth, yes, it's been 6 years already, so thank you for attending our 6th year at the Poetry Out Loud competition. Our students have been working so hard to get prepared and ready for this day. They put a lot of work into it. If you haven't noticed, they've been out in the hallway reciting their poems, sleepless nights getting ready for today. I'm so proud of them. We're gonna have a couple of our students introduce our guest judges for today. So, without further ado.
Like Ms. Joseph said, let's begin with introducing the judges of our panel this afternoon. Starting off, we have Timothy Geiger. He has been a professor of English at the University of Toledo since 1997. He teaches creative writing, poetry writing, and courses in book arts. Mr. Geiger is the author of 2 books of poetry and 11 chapbooks.
Our next judge is Ryan Bunch, who is the Communications and Outreach Coordinator at the Arts Commission in Toledo, Ohio, and is music editor at Toledo.com. In addition to volunteering for a wide array of community arts events and organizations, Ryan studied creative writing at the University of Toledo and is a working poet with small press publications online and in print, nationally and internationally.
Next up, we have Michaela White, an alumni at Toledo Early College. She is also the 2013 State of Ohio Poetry Out Loud winner. She currently attends Lourdes University and is studying nursing. Welcome back, Ms. White. Next up, we have our very own former math teacher at Toledo Early College, Ms. Sherry Storm. She is currently the data coordinator at Bowser High School. Go Rebels. Everyone, welcome back, Mrs. Storm. And last but not least, we have our very own English teacher, Miss Julie Kwiatowski. Give her a round of applause. She will be our poetry prompter for tonight. Oh, and let us not forget Mr. Tierney for calculating the judging scoring. Let's give our judge panel another round of applause.
To start off our competition this afternoon, I would like to call up Laura Samarani for her first poem.
Larkinesque by Michael Ryan. Reading in the paper a summary of a 5-year psychological study that shows those perceived as most beautiful are treated differently. I think they could have just asked me, remembering a kind of pudgy kid in late puberty, the bloody noses and wisecracks because I wore glasses. Though we all know by now how awful it is for the busty starlet no one takes seriously, the loveliest women I've lunched with lamenting the opacity of the body. They can never trust a man's interest, even when he seems not just out for sex. Eyes focus on me above rim of wine glass. And who would want to live like this? And what does beauty do to a man? Don Juan, Casanova, Lord Byron, those fiery eyes and steel jawlines confront a furnace of self-loathing. All those breathless women rushing to him while he's at the officer ballgame, primed to be consumed by his beauty, while he stands next to it, watching. So maybe the looks were dealt her best. It's only common sense that happiness depends on some bearable deprivation or defect, and who knows what conflicts great beauty could have caused. What cruelties one might have suffered from those now friends. What unmanageable possibilities smiling at every small turn. So, If I get up to draw a tumbler of ordinary tap water and think, what if this were nectar, dripping from delicious, burning fingers? Will all I've missed knock me senseless? No, of course not. It won't.
Up next, we have Zion Hoffman.
Invitation to Love by Paul Lawrence Dunbar. Come when the nights are bright with stars, or come when the moon is mellow. Come when the sun, his golden bars, drops on the hayfield yellow. Come in the twilight, soft and gray. Come in the night, or come in the day. Come, O love, whenever you may, and you are welcome. Welcome. You are sweet, O love, dear love. You're soft as the nesting dove. Come to my heart and bring it to rest, as a bird flies home to his welcome nest. Come when my heart is full of grief, or when my heart is merry. Come with the falling of the leaf, or with the reddening cherry. Come when the year's first blossom blows. Come when the summer gleams and glows. Come with the winter's drifting stones, and you are welcome. Welcome. Thank you.
Up next, we have Maya Stevens.
No moon floods the memory of that night by Actress Night. No moon floods the memory of that night. Only the rain. I remember the cold rain against our faces and mixing with your tears. Only the rain. I remember the cold rain and your mouth, soft and warm. No moon, no stars, no jagged pane of lightning, only my impotent tongue and the red rage within my brain, knowing that the chilling rain will are forever, even as I tried to explain. A revolutionary is a doomed man with no certainties but love and history. But our children must grow up with certainties, and they will make the revolution. By example, we must show the way so plain that our children can go neither right nor left, but straight to freedom. No, you said and you left. No moon floods the memory of that night. Only the rain. I remember the cold rain, and praying that like the rain returned to the sky, you would return to me again.
Coming to the stage, Sophia Jigley.
I am trying to break your heart by Heaven Young. I am hoping to hang your head on my wall in shame. The slightest taxidermy thrills me. Fish forever leaping on the living room wall. Paperweights made from skulls of small animals. I want to wear your smile on my sleeve and break your heart like a horse or its leg. Weeks of being bucked off, then all at once, you're mine. Put me down, I want to call you thine. To tattoo mercy along my knuckles, I assassin down the avenue. I'd hope to have you forgotten by noon, to know you by your knees, palsy by prayer. Loneliness is a science. Consider the taxidermist's tender hands, trying to keep from losing skin the bobcat grin of the living.
Up next, Michael Quinn.
The End of the World by Dana Goyle. We're going, they said, to the end of the world. So they stopped the car with a river girl. And we scrambled down beneath the bridge on the gravel track of a narrow ridge. We tramped for miles on the wooded walk, where a dog hollow grew in its twisted stalk. Then we stopped to rest and pioneer the floor, while two ospreys watched from the oak by the shore. We came to a bend where the river grew wide, and green mountains rolled on the opposite side. My guides moved back. I stood alone, as the current streaked over smooth, flat stone. Sheltered by stone shelf the river fell. The white water goosed him, eddying swell. Faster and louder the current dropped, until it reached the cliff. The trail stopped. I stood at the edge, with the mist descended, my journey done, for the world ended. I looked downstream. There's nothing but sky, the sound of water, and the water's reply.
Coming to the stage next is Assad Drop.
Song of the Powers by David Mason. Mine, said the stone, mine's the hour, I crush the scissors, such is my power. Stronger than wishes, my power alone. Mine, said the paper, mine are the words that smother the stone of imagined birds, reams of them fawn from the mind of the shaper. Mine, said the scissors, mine are the knives, gashing through paper's ethereal lives, nothing so proper as tattering wishes. Stone crushes scissors as paper snuffs stone, and scissors cut paper, all and alone. So heap up your paper, scissor your wishes, and uproot the stone from the top of the hill. They all and alone as you will. You will.
Up next is Katie Kicker.
Ode to the Hotel in the Children's Hospital by Kevin Young. Praise the restless beds. Praise the beds that do not adjust, that won't lift the head to feed, or lower for shots or blood, or raise to watch the tinny TV. Praise the hotel TV that won't quit its murmur and holler. Praise the room service that doesn't exist, just the slow delivery to the front desk of cooling pizzas and brown bags leaky, greasy, and clear. Praise the vending machines. Praise the change. Praise the hot water and the heat, or the loud cool that helps the helpless sleep. Praise the front desk who knows to wake room 120 when the hospital rings. Praise the silent phone. Praise the dark, drawn by thick daytime curtains after long nights of waiting awake. Praise the waiting, and then praise the nothing. That's better than bad news. Praise the wake-up call at 6 a.m. Praise the sleeping in. Praise the card hung on the door like a whisper, lips pressed silent. Praise the stranger's hands that change the sweat of sheets. Praise the checking out. Praise the going home, to beds unmade for days. Beds that won't resurrect or rise, that lie there like a child should, sleeping, tubeless. Praise this mess that can be left.
Coming to the stage next is Christian Munn.
The Truly Great by Stephen Spender. I think continuously of those who were truly great, who, from the womb, remember the soul's history, through corridors of life where the hours are suns, endless in singing, whose lovely ambition was that their lips, still touched with fire, should tell of the spirit clothed from head to foot and sown, and who hoarded from the spring branches the desires falling across their bodies like blossoms. What is precious is never to forget the essential delight of the blood drawn from ageless rings, breaking through rocks and worlds before our earth. Never to deny its pleasure in the morning's simple light, nor its great evening demand for love. Never to allow gradually the traffic to smother with noise and fog, the flowering of the spirit. Near the snow, near the sun, in the highest fields, see how these names are fettered by the waving grass, and by the streamers of white cloud, and whispers of wind in the listening sky. The names of those who in their lives fought for life, who wore at their hearts the fire's center. Born of the sun, they traveled a short while toward the sun, and left the vivid air, signed with their honor.
Coming to the stage next to recite is Italia Fernandez.
In Felix by Ada Isaacs Mencken. Where is the promise of my years, once written on my brow? Ere airs, agonies, and fears brought with them all that speaks in tears. Ere I had sunk beneath my peers, were sleeps that promise now. Naught lingers to redeem those hours, still to memory sweet. The flowers that bloomed in sunny bowers are withered all, and evil towers supreme above her sister powers of sorrow and deceit. I look along the columned years and see life's ribbon fade, just where it fell, amid the jeers of scornful lips whose mocking sneers forever hiss within my ears to break the sleep of pain. I can but own my life is vain, a desert void of peace. I miss the goal I sought to gain. I miss the measure of the strain that lulls fame's fever in the brain and bids earth's tumult cease. Myself, alas, for themes so poor, a theme but rich in fear. I stand a wreck on error's shore, a specter not within the door, a houseless shadow evermore, an exile lingering here.
Up next is Dejanique Phillips.
Personal, by Tony Hoagland. Don't take it personal, they said, but I did. I took it all quite personal. The breeze in the river, and the color of the fields, the price of grapefruit and stamps, the wet hair of women in the rain. And I cursed what hurt me, and I praised what gave me joy, the most simple-minded of possible responses. The government reminded me of my father, with its deafness and its laws, and the weather reminded me of my mom, with her tropical squalls. Enjoy it while you can, they said of happiness. Think first, they said of talk. Get over it, they said at the school of broken hearts. But I couldn't, and I didn't, and I don't believe in the clean break. I believe in the compound fracture, served with the sauce of dirty regret. I believe in saying it all, and taking it all back, and saying it again for good measure, while the air fills up with I'm sorries, like wheeling birds, and the trees look seasick in the wind. Oh, life, can you blame me for making a scene? You were the yellow caboose, the moon disappearing over a ridge of cloud. I was the dog, chained in some fool's backyard, barking and barking, trying to convince everything else to take it personal too.
Coming to the stage next is Asil Kamar.
Discrimination by Kenneth Rakestraw. I don't mind human race. I've got pretty used to them in these past 25 years. I don't mind who they sit next to me on streetcars or eat in the same restaurant if it's not the same table. However, I don't approve of a woman I was caught dancing with one of them. I've tried asking them to my home without success. I shouldn't care to see my own sister marry one. Even if she loved him, think of the children. Their art is interesting, but certainly barbaric. I'm sure if given a chance, they'd kill us all in our beds. And you must admit, they smell. Thank you.
Up next is Willie Josway.
Testimony by Rita Dove. Back when the earth was new and heaven just a whisper. Back when the names of things hadn't had time to stick. back when the smallest breezes melted summer into autumn, when all the poplars quivered sweet in rank and file. The world called and I answered, each glance ignited to a gaze. I caught my breath and called that life, swooning between spoonfuls of lemon sorbet. I was pirouette and flourished. I was filigree and flame. How could I count my blessings when I didn't know their names? Back when everything was still to come, luck leaked out everywhere. I gave my promise to the world, and the world followed me here.
Coming up to the stage next is Mackenzie Leach.
It was not death where I stood up, 355, by Emily Dickinson. It was not death where I stood up, and all the dead lay down. It was not night, for all the bells put out their tongues for noon. It was not frost, for on my flesh I felt siroccos crawl, nor fire, for just my marble feet could keep the chancel cool. And yet, it tasted like them all, the figures I have seen, set orderly for burial, reminded me of mine, as if my life were shaded and fitted to a frame, and could not breathe without a key, and 'twas like a midnight sound. When everything that ticked has stopped, and space stares all around, or grisly frosts, first autumn morns, repeal the beating ground, but most like chaos, stopless, cool, without a chance or spar, or even a report of land to justify despair.
Last but not least, Eileen Dominguez.
Bent to the Earth by Gus Manuel Luna. They had hit Reuben with high beams, had blinded him, so that the van he was driving, full of Mexicans going to pick tomatoes, would have to stop. Reuben spun the van into an irrigation ditch. Spun. The 5-year-old Neil waved to immigration officers, their batons already out, already looking for the soft spots on the body. To my mother being handcuffed and dragged to a van, to my father trying to show them our green cards. They let us go, but Alvaro was going back. So was his brother Fernando. So was their sister Sonia. Their mother did not escape, and so was going back. Their father was in the field and was free. There were no great truths revealed to me then, no wisdom given to me by anyone. I was a child who had seen what a piece of polished wood could do to a face, who had seen his father about to lose the one he loved, who, later that morning, bent to the earth and went to work.
Okay, welcome back everyone to Poetry Out Loud. For round 2, we will do the same kids will come up, same exact order. Their second poem, they only had a couple of weeks to work on it, but it will be equally as good, right guys? Equally as good. Just to let you know, they will be judged based off of 5 different categories. Accuracy is one of them as well. So voice quality, etc. Just so that you guys know. And Mr. Tierney is over here adding up all of the scores, and at the end of our competition, he will have everything tabulated and we'll come up here and announce the winner. Okay, so without further ado, let's have our first, I'm sorry, I'm taking away her role. Go ahead, Emma. Go ahead, Emma. Be honest.
Coming back up is Laura Samarani.
The Obligation to be Happy by Linda Paston. It is more onerous than the rights of beauty or housework, harder than love. But you expect it of me casually, the way you expect the sun to come up, not in spite of rain or clouds, but because of them. And so I smile, as if my own fidelity to sadness were a hidden vice, that downward tug on my mouth, my old suspicion that health and love are brief irrelevancies, no more than laughter in the warm dark strangled at dawn. Happiness. I try to hoist it on my narrow shoulders again, a knapsack heavy with gold coins. I stumble around the house, bump into things. Only Midas himself would understand.
Next up, we have Maya Stevens.
Mama said by Calvin Ford, the slice I ate, I want it back. Those crumbs I swept up, I'd bite my share again. I can still taste it like it was. The memory by itself is delicious. Each bite was a small miracle, both nourishing and sweet. I wish I changed just a little bit. I know it wasn't a literal cake. It's the thought that counts, like a gift that's not store-bought, making it even more special, like a dream that makes you want to go back to sleep. You can't have your cake and eat it too, Mama said. I was defiant and hard-headed and answered, yes, I can too. The look she gave me said, boy, I hope you aren't a fool all your life.
Next to the stage is Zion Hoffman.
Orbs by Thomas Sayers Ellis. Or Oreo, or worse, or ordinary, or your choice of category, or color, or any color, other than color, or colored only, or of color, or other, or theory, or discourse, or oral territory, Oregon, or Georgia, or Florida Zorro, or opportunity, or born poor, or corporate, or more, or in the war of orifice, or single, or diaspora, or horrendous, or horrendous informative journey, or performance, or allegory's armor of ignorant comfort, or worship, or form, or sword chorus, or a form, or sword chorus, or imported chords of Yoruba, or word, or neighbor, or fear of terror, or border, or all organized minorities. Thank you.
Coming up next is Sophia Jagley with the poem I Felt a Funeral in My Brain. The program had a typo.
I felt a funeral in my brain, 340, by Emily Dickinson. I felt a funeral in my brain, and mourners to and fro kept treading, till it seemed that sense was breaking through. And when they all were seated, a service, like a drum, kept beating, till I thought my mind was going numb. And then I heard them lift a box and creep across my soul with those same boots of lead again. Then space began to toll, as all the heavens were a bell, and being but an ear. And I, in silence, some strange race, wrecked, solitary, here. And then a plank in reason broke, and I dropped down, and hit a world at every plunge, and finished knowing then.
Next up is Michael Quinn.
The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I cannot travel both. And to be one traveler, long I stood, and looked downward as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better thing, because it was grassy and wandering weary. But as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step that trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
Next up, we have Asad Jurad.
Self-portrait by Chase Twitchell. I know I promised to stop talking about it. I was talking to myself. The truth is, she's a child who stopped growing, so I've always allowed her to tag along. And when she brings her melancholy close to me, I comfort her. Naturally, you're curious. You want to know how she became a gnarled branch, veiled in diminutive blooms. I've told you all I know. I was sure she had secrets, but she had no secrets. I had to tell her mine.
Coming to the stage next is Katie Jagley.
Once you said, joking and smiling, if I'm killed, I'll come to haunt your solemn bed. I'll stand and glower in the head, and see if my place is empty still or filled. What was it woke me in the early darkness, before the first bird's twittering? A shape, dissolving and flittering, unsteady as a flame in a drafty house. It seemed a concentration of the burning by my right hand, while to my left that no man's land of sheet stretched palely as a false morning. All day I have been sitting restless. This evening, curtained with all the lights on, I start up, only to sit down. Why should I grieve after 10 years of grieving? What if last night I was the one who lay dead, while the dead burned beside me, trembling with passionate pity at my blameless life and shaking its flame-like head?
Next to the stage is Christian Munn.
The Convergence of the Twain by Thomas Hardy. Lines on the loss of the Titanic. In the solitude of the sea, deep from human vanity, in the pride of life that planet, still he couches sheep, still chambers laid the piles of her salamandrian fires, cold curtains thread, return to rhythmic tidal lives. Over the mirrors, meant to glass the object, the sea worm crawls, grotesque, slime, dumb, indifferent. Jewels enjoy design, to ravish the sensuous mind, lie lightless, all their struggles, bleared in black and blonde. Dim moonlight fishes near, gaze at the gilded gear, and where? What is this vaingloriousness down here? Well, why was fashioned this creature of cleaving wind, the imminent will that stirs and urges everything, prepared a sinister mate for her, so gilded great, a shape of ice, for the time, far and dissociated. And as the smart ship grew, in stature, grace, and hue, in shadow fell in distance, grew the iceberg too. Alien they seem to be, no mortal eye can see their intimate welding of their later history, or sign that they were met by past coincident on being lines when as of one August event, till the spinner of the year said now, and each one hears, and consummation comes, and jumps to my spheres.
Next up, we have Italia Fernandez.
Winter Remembered by John Crow Ransom. Two evils, monsters, I torn apart, possessed me and were long and low at going. A cry of absence, absence, in the heart and in the wood, the furious winter blowing. Think not, when fire was bright upon my bricks, and past the tight boards hardly a wind could enter. I glowed like them, the simple burning sticks, far from my cause, my property and center. Better to walk forth in the frozen air and wash my wound in the snows. That would be healing. Because my heart would throb less painful there, being caked with cold and past the smarter feeling. And where I walked, the murderous winter blast would have this body bowed, these eyeballs streaming. And though I think this heart's blood froze not fast, it ran too small to spare one drop for dreaming. Dear love, these fingers that had known your touch, and tied or separate forces first together, were 10 poor idiot fingers, not worth much. 10 frozen parsnips hanging in the weather.
Next up is Dejanique Phillips.
Solitude by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Laugh, and the world laughs with you. Weep, and you weep alone. For the sad old earth must borrow its mirth, but have trouble enough of its own. Sing, and the hills will answer. Sigh, it is lost on the air. The echoes bound to the joyful sound, but shrink from voicing care. Rejoice, and men will seek you. Grieve, and they turn and go. They want full measure of all your pleasure, but they do not need your woe. Be glad, and your friends are many. Be sad, and you lose them all. There are none to decline your nectared wine, but alone you must drink life's gall. Feast, and your halls are crowded. Fast, and the world goes by. Succeed and give, and it helps you live, but no man can help you die. There is room in the halls of pleasure for a large and lordly train, but one by one we must all file on through the narrow aisles of pain.
Next up is Asil Kumari.
Let the Light Enter by Francis Allen Watkins Harper. The dying words of God. Light, more light, the shadows deepen. My life is ebbing low. Throw the windows widely open. Light, more light before I go. Softly, let the balmy sunshine play around my dying bed. Ere the dimly lighted valley, I, with lonely feet, must tread. Light, more light, for death is weeping. Shadows round my waning sight, and I fain would gaze upon it through a stream of earthly light. Not for greater gifts of genius, not for thoughts more grandly bright, all the poet whispers is a prayer for light, more light. Heeds he not the gathered laurels, fading slowly from his sight? All the poem's aspirations center for the prayer of light. Gracious Savior, when life's daydreams melt and vanish from the sight, may our dim and longing vision then be blessed with light, more light. Thank you.
Next up is Willie Joshua.
It was not death, for I stood up. 355 by Emily Dickinson. It was not death, for I stood up, and all the dead lie down. It was not night, for all the bells put out their tongues for noon. It was not frost, for on my flesh I felt sirocco's crawl. Nor fire, for just my marble feet could keep a chance of cool. And yet it tasted like them all. The figures I have seen set orderly, for burial reminded me of mine. As if my life were shapen and fitted to a frame, and could not breathe without a key. And 'twas like midnight, some, when everything that ticked had stopped, and space stares all around, or grisly frost first autumn morns repealed the beating ground. But most like chaos, stopless, cool, without a chance or spar, or even a report of land to justify despair. Thank you.
Next on stage is Mackenzie Leach.
Ways of Talking by Hajin. We used to like talking about grief. Our journals and letters were packed with losses, complaints, and sorrows. Even if there was no grief, we wouldn't stop lamenting, as though longing for the charm of a distressed face. Then, we couldn't help expressing grief. So many things descended without warning. Labor wasted, loves lost, houses gone, marriages broken, friends estranged, ambitions worn away by immediate needs. Words lined up in our throats for a good whining. Grief seemed like an endless river, the only immortal flow of life. After losing a land and then giving up a tongue, we stopped talking of grief. Smiles began to brighten our faces. We laugh a lot at our own mess. Things become beautiful, even hailstones in the strawberry fields.
And finally, we have Eileen Dominguez.
Spanglish by Tato Daviera. Pues estoy creando Spanglish, bicultural systems, scientific lexicographical intertextual integrations, two expressions, essentially wired, two dominant languages, continentally abrazándose. En coloquio combate, en las aceras del soil. Imperio Spanglish emerges, control bandiaje. Imperio Spanglish emerges, control bandiaje sobre territorio bilingual. Las novelas mexicanas mixing with radio, rock and roll, condimented cocina, lore. Baraja Chismitos Social Club. Hip hop, prieto, street salsa. Corner soul y mixturando. Spanish pop farándula. Standard English classroom with computer technicalities. Spanish is literally perfect. Spanglish is ethically snobbish. Spanglish is cara holy inteligencia. Which U.S. slang do you speak?
We are going to call each contestant up here, contestant like it's a game show. We'll call each person up here one at a time, and then after everyone is up on stage, we will talk about who had the third high score, the second, and who received first place. So the first person was Laura. Come on up here. Zion Hoffman. Maya Stevens. Sophia Bailey. Michael Quinn. Asad Jarrah. Katie Bailey. Kristen Munn. Italia Fernandez. Daisy Phillips. Asil Kamari. Willie Joshua. Nathan Green. And Ellen Dominguez. Let's give them one more round of applause. The third highest score was Maya Stevens. Second highest score was Dejanay Phillips. I know her too. And our 2016 Poetry Out Loud winner is... I'm just kidding, the microphone didn't connect. And the winner is Laura Samarani. And that concludes our 2016 Poetry Out Loud competition. Thank you all so much. Thank you to our wonderful judges for coming again.